Hi, I'm Jeremy, and you're listening to Verse by Verse. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't know if God would save them. It didn't matter. King Nebuchadnezzar had set up a 90-foot-tall golden idol and commanded all the officials of his government to come together and worship it. If they didn't, they would be burned alive in a giant furnace. Some people motivate with carrots. Some people motivate with sticks. Some people motivate with the threat of incredible violence and public spectacle. I'll let you guess which camp Nebuchadnezzar fell into. When the king of Babylon discovers that 3 of his Jewish government officials have disobeyed his direct order to worship the idol, he has them brought in to answer for themselves. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and fury, gave the command to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the gold image which I have set up? Now, if you are ready at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery, in symphony with all kinds of music, and you fall down and worship the image which I have made, good. But if you do not worship, you shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you from my hands?" What would you have done? I'm not asking what an idealized, flawless version of yourself would have done. I'm asking what you would do if you found yourself in the same situation right now, today. Because that's scary. No matter what you believe, no matter what values you hold, when the king who razed your homeland to the ground and desecrated the temple of your God is standing before you and shouting, "Bow down or burn," that's scary. And in those moments, there can be a big difference between what we wish we'd do and what we would actually do. I know what I hope I'd do. I don't know what I'd really do. But we do know what the 3 servants of God did, and I find a great deal of inspiration in their response. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king and said, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If that is the case, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king." That last sentence reads a little awkwardly in most translations. It makes them sound confident that they would survive the furnace. The Christian Standard Bible renders it this way: "He can rescue us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he can rescue us from the power of you, the king." There is no doubt in their minds that God has the power to rescue them from Nebuchadnezzar's royal power. But will he? Nothing is too hard for God, but nothing has been promised here by God either. They know what they need to do. They know what God can do, but they don't know exactly what will happen next. Daniel 3, verse 18. They commit themselves to obeying God, no matter the cost. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we do not serve your gods, nor will we worship the gold image which you have set up. For me, those are 3 of the most impactful words in the entire Bible. But if not. God has the power to rescue us. He could. We hope that he will. But even if he chooses not to, even if we could know in advance that he won't, we will not bow. Nebuchadnezzar's threats and the possible consequences weren't part of the equation. The only thing that mattered, the only thing, was what God required of them. And what God required of them was to worship him alone. They were willing to die to stay true to that commandment. I've often wondered what kind of fortitude it took to feel the heat of that furnace, to know there was no bluff to call, to not be sure if they could count on a divine rescue, and then to effectively tell the most powerful man in the world, "Do your worst, O king." Here's what I'm sure of. That's not a conclusion they came to in the heat of the moment. Those 3 men didn't decide right then that they would follow God no matter the cost. They decided earlier. Before the furnace, before the 90-foot idol, they had committed themselves to obeying God long before they found themselves in a do-or-die situation. The reason there was no need to answer the king in this matter was because they'd made the decision in the privacy of their own hearts long before the stakes were this high. God could rescue them. He might not. But they didn't need to know how things would turn out to know the right thing to do. They already knew it, and they followed through. Knees that don't bend before the king of Babylon are ones that find their strength regularly bending before the King of Kings. Your God you serve can rescue you from any trial you face in this life. But if not, how will you respond? That's not something you and I will decide in front of the furnace. It's something we're deciding right now.
Verse by Verse is a Life, Hope, and Truth podcast. Check out the show notes to find more free content, like videos, articles, and booklets in our Learning Center.